Thank you, everybody, for coming. For those who don't know who I am, I'm 𝗙cie Pickler, and David in the back has given me the opportunity to present our speaker today for the Power Years. So we are excited for everyone to be here for Evolving with Aesthetics and Wellness, sponsored by 𝗙𝗄𝗄𝗏. Throughout this session, you'll have the opportunity to gain insight into aging gracefully, understanding how health needs change as we age, and discover holistic health options to enhance your well-being. So with us today, we have Valerie Monismith. She is right over here, and you're going to get to hear a lot about her if you haven't already met her yet, which she is fabulous, so I'm excited for this session. She is a skilled and charismatic registered nurse with over 10 years of experience in the medical aesthetics field. Valerie has built her career around providing unique solutions to clients for a range of issues. Before founding Ashtoria Aesthetics and Wellness, inspired by the names of her two daughters, Ashley and Victoria, in 2015, she excelled as a dedicated labor and delivery and NICU nurse for many years. Valerie has made the transition into the medical aesthetics after being presented with an opportunity to work as a plastic surgeon's lead nurse. This new challenge opened her eyes to the vast spectrum of aesthetic procedures, especially those to improve a patient's quality of life. Over the years, she has continued to work with doctors and other aesthetic professionals across the country and abroad, constantly building her expertise in both laser and injectable therapies. She is skilled in safe skin and tissue rejuvenation treatments using the highly acclaimed Photono want to make sure I get that right, laser system, and has additional expertise in advanced methods for injecting Botox and more. Motivated to expand her knowledge in healthy living, Valerie became a certified Food for Life instructor through the award-winning Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. The Food for Life program was designed for physicians, nurses, and registered dietitians to train and certify health advocates in promoting healthy eating and disease management. So I'm excited to hear what Valerie has to say. Again, yes, the food and wine will be available, so if you need to get up and get a refill during the session, that is totally fine. But let's introduce Valerie.
I'd like to thank David and 𝗙cie and their wonderful team for having me here tonight. What a beautiful facility. It's fabulous. So this is Ashtoria Aesthetics and Wellness. I opened in 2015 at Carriage Crossing. I started out in a little 1,500 square foot spot next to Kathy's Nails and across from Bed Bath & Beyond. And in 2 years, we moved and more than doubled our space over. We're in between Dillard's and Sephora. And as 𝗙cie said, Ashtoria is the blending of my two daughters' names. I have 5 children, but my boys had to deal with being left out. And this is basically our mission statement: to deliver life-changing results using the highest rated products and technology in a safe and inviting atmosphere. So I also wanted to say I love the name of this series, The Power Years. It's true. Like, I can remember the year I turned 29 crying, knowing that 30 was next, because that sounded so ancient to me. And I mean, I just look back at that and laugh. I turned 60 this year. And every decade, I can say, has just gotten better and better and better. And I'm looking forward to what the next, God willing, 10, 20, 30 years brings. So the older we get, the more powerful it can be. Don't ever stop. I went to nursing school when my youngest of 5 started kindergarten. My family calls me the jack of all trades. I've been in radio. I was an aerobics instructor, Nursing was the first thing that caught my attention, I think. I always wanted to be a nurse, and I just got to a point in my life where I could finally afford to go to nursing school, is what it was. But, never stop learning, never stop evolving if that's what your heart is. So this business and all of the people I've been able to connect with through it have been an absolute joy in my life. After being in this industry for about a decade, I wanted to be able to offer clients and products and services to my clients that I considered to be the best of the best. I didn't want to be limited by other business models where I was working for other people and I was confined to what they wanted to purchase. I also wanted to offer my clients more times per appointment. Many aesthetic businesses operate on a medical model where clients have 15 to 30-minute time blocks at most. I don't like being rushed, especially the older I get, the more I want to take my time. And I want my clients to be able to take their time. So we offer very generous appointment blocks that allow plenty of time for us to talk, listen, and connect. We are a private locked door facility, so you can't just walk in. This allows us to give each client our full attention without any distractions. I started out with just aesthetics, but it was always in my plan to expand into holistic health and functional medicine to fully offer my clients a broad range of support throughout life. Hence the Ashtoria Aesthetics and Wellness. We just started going into the wellness part this past year, and it's so exciting to me. This is my injection room. So when we were doing our construction, I decided to leave the ceilings open. You can't really see it here, but we have really big rooms for our injectables and laser. And I left the ceilings open because every place I worked, I had really tiny injection rooms, and I feel like that gives a lot of people anxiety, you know, on top of coming in to be stuck with a needle or whatever we're doing. So we have large, spacious, calming rooms, and I dreamed about opening Ashtoria for about a year before I opened it. Every time I dreamed about it, because I'm very visual, it was always in light blue, white, and silver, and those are the colors in my business. And I hear over and over from my clients how calming it is when you walk in. We also play lo-fi music, which is a very calming backbeat type music that helps people relax when they walk in. And we love everybody. However you're coming in, I have ladies that come in sweaty with their baseball cap on from the gym, and they'll be apologizing. I'm like, it's okay. This is a non-judgment place. We love you as you are. If you can get here, I don't care how you get here. It's just important that you're here, and now you get to have some self-care. I kind of skipped ahead here. I don't usually use notes, but it's been so long since I've done a talk. I made notes so I don't forget something. So the first thing I do when I bring a client into my treatment room when they're coming in for a consult is to sit down next to them. That immediately puts people at ease. Our consults give us a full hour to discuss your concerns and goals, and at each follow-up visit, I will again sit down and check in and review outcomes and future goals and discuss any changes that may need to be made. My goal for you is to feel as comfortable as possible through every visit to Ashtoria. Training is really important too. I guess I already hit that one, okay. You know, for 18 years, I've invested a lot of money in multiple trainings yearly. I've been a trainer for 𝗙cie Medical and currently a trainer for 𝗡𝗲𝗓𝗏 Medical Technologies, as well as a private trainer for both photona lasers and injectable liquid facelifts. My goal is to help you turn back time while looking completely natural by placing the majority of your filler in the peripheral and lateral part of your face, not down the center. That's where everything's already going. That's the last place you want to put it. But that typically is how, you know, aesthetics started out. Whatever is placed in the upper and peripheral face will pull up equally from below. So, you know, 25 years ago, when you went in to get filler, I'm going to stand over here. I'll just take it out, actually. So when you go in to get filler, where would they fill? They'd fill your smile lines. People would say, this is bothering, and that's where they put the filler. Well, that makes people look more bloated. You know, you have your fusion line up here along the skull. Everybody can feel it. That's where we start dropping filler as we age. So some people genetically will get really scooped out in the temples. Other people will maintain some pretty good volume there. But things are coming down and forward. So the last place you want to put filler is in the front of that face. You want to lift and pull back first, and then just lightly droplets in that medial face as needed. The other thing I always like to talk about is you don't want to overfill loose skin. So laser skin tightening is very important. Laser skin tightening also helps the health of your skin. So the tighter you get the skin, the healthier it is. A lot of people, if you know, we talk about aging gracefully, and that means something different to everyone. Aging gracefully can mean doing nothing, and that's completely fine. It can also mean just doing laser, because if you're just keeping your skin healthy and tight, most people don't need filler. You know, you can look amazing with just laser. You know, so we meet people wherever they're at. We're not pushy salespeople. I love to educate people, and you can do as little or as much as you want or nothing at all, and that's all okay. I met a woman years ago and I think she was in her early 80s, and she had the most beautiful skin. And I asked her what she did, wanting to know what her secret was. And she's like, nothing. And I'm like, well, man, you have some amazing genetics. And she was like, well, I take that back. She said, ever since I could afford it, I've always gotten a monthly facial. So if I wasn't a believer in facials, man, that lady made me a believer. Raising 5 children, I never even had a facial myself until I got into this industry. I got pulled into this industry quite by accident, being recruited by the plastic surgery group. And it was just a wonderful experience and got me into this area where I can use my artistic side and my nursing side kind of combined to make people feel good. So these are my 3 lasers. They're all Photonas. I call them child 6, 7, and 8 with master's degrees for what I paid for them. And that's my daughter, who used to run one of my lasers, but she moved back to Texas recently. But we have another amazing esthetician that Victoria handpicked and trained, and who's our laser technician now is also in nursing school, so she's really going to be able to grow with us well. So the reason I went with Photona, I had been in this industry around the area for about a decade, and I'd worked with a lot of different lasers in the area. And they were all okay, but there was always seemed to be something that I felt like could be improved with each one. So when I started researching lasers, I found Photona, and I was like, oh my gosh, these lasers check every box. I had a list of what I wanted and didn't want. It's the oldest laser company in the entire world. They're out of Ljubljana, Slovenia. I've been over there twice to study at their Laser and Health Academy. Amazing, amazing training, like you get nowhere else. They started out with space lasers. They opened in 1964. Then went into surgical lasers, dental lasers, and then aesthetic lasers. So a lot of their research and development with surgical and dental lasers, they've been able to implement into their aesthetic lasers, such as treating wet mucosa. So in the dental world, they're treating the inside oral wet mucosa to heal oral surgeries more quickly. They're using it to drill everything. And surgically, they're working inside the mouth to heal like oral cancers and stuff. Well, they realized when they were doing these treatments that all of a sudden the outside of the people's skin was getting tighter, wrinkles were going away. So they're the only company in the United States that has an FDA-approved modality in handpieces for wet mucosa, which is also, so we treat the mouth, and we also, with that modality, treat female health as well. Yes, sir. Right, and balance is a great word that you used, because, and I don't try to talk people out of surgery if they want it, but the problem with a facelift is it's cutting right here around your ear and sliding this portion back. It's doing nothing for the skin around your eyes, your forehead, around your mouth, your neck, your chest. It creates an imbalance. So a lot of places will try to incorporate, if you're getting a facelift, doing a fractional laser to bring balance back in. But the other thing to me is a facelift is pulling old compromised skin tight. It's going to loosen up in 3 to 5 years. It just is. So to me, if someone's going to get surgery, one of the best things you can do is do a fractional laser first. Get your skin healthy. You may be amazed that you can put off a facelift for 5 to 7 years, And what fractional laser is doing is ablating microscopic tunnels into your skin while leaving microscopic islands intact, but you're getting a full resurfacing. The horror stories back when probably Robin Williams, 20 years ago, my gosh, lasers and aesthetics have come so far. 20, 25 years ago, fractional laser, you look like Hamburg for 4 weeks. It was bad. It was rough. The other thing is that there's 3 ways to power fractional lasers. The cheapest way, which is what most people have because it's the least expensive to buy, understandably, is CO2. And that's most of the horror stories you see online are CO2 lasers, because you're just popping in those CO2 cartridges. The mid-level range is an alexandrite crystal. What Photona uses is erbium crystal, which is a dermatology grade. So what that means is CO2 runs the hottest. you're going to get a great result with it. You're going to get a great result with all of them. It's just a rougher way to get there, because CO2, when it's ablating microscopic tunnels, you're going to have frayed edges. It just runs so hot. And typically, if you're going to get a really good deep one, you need IV conscious sedation. With erbium, which I use, again, crystal clean edges. My clients with a deep, like deep full-on is as good as I can get you in one treatment. You're back in makeup and out and about on day 5 post typically. So much quicker recovery. And I'm going to show a lot of before and after pictures at the end, because those are just always fun. So getting that skin healthy, you know, it's when you're getting laser, which is very different from microneedling. I was at the International Laser Symposium in Dallas about 4 weeks ago, and Dr. Taylor, who's a big dermatologist in Nashville, I think Mark Taylor, he stood up, and at the very beginning of his talk, he's like, "Can we stop talking about microneedling?" And the whole room burst into clapping, because microneedling is great if you're 20 years old. It's not going to do anything for my skin. You need the big boys, the big guns, and that's laser as you're aging, to really get deep, to tighten those muscle vectors, to lift, and that's what we do with our 40 laser facelift. And fractional laser, we're going down about 460 microns into the skin. You're getting a good resurfacing, tightening. It's just, you've got fresh new skin. And I always hear dermatologists when I'm at the conferences talking about how if we could ever get insurance to pay for laser, every derm in the country would have an erbium fractional. Because anyone with a skin cancer on their face, you know if there's one, more's coming, and you should be getting a fractional laser treatment. We can never, of course, say that it's going to 100% clear everything, but when you're getting that deep of a resurfacing, you're reducing the number of precancerous skin cells immensely in any area we're treating. So it is wonderfully healthy and safe. Like, you get a great aesthetic outcome from it. That's why insurance will never pay for it. They'll pay to have something cut off, burn off, froze off, which is typically going to leave a scar. They won't pay for laser, which is what we use to get rid of scars. So, yes, yeah. It's given you a resurfacing like that. You know, that probably gave you a little resurfacing, maybe a little irritation at the same time. But this is much more methodical, I would say. But yes, you know, when we're doing laser, we're boosting those fibroblasts and the collagen, which is what we need for that snap in the skin. And also, erbium laser targets water in your skin and your tissue too, so it's really good to stay hydrated. Our body needs hydration in order to build collagen. So if you come in and you're really dry and you're not drinking your water, you're not going to get the same result as someone who's really good at hydrating. And I don't know if you've noticed on social media a lot lately, I've been following David Avocado Wolf for probably 20 of his 30 years of being a nutritionist. And things that he has touted for the 20 years I've been following him, I keep seeing that everybody's popping on the bandwagon finally about, you know, parasites and putting some sea salt in your water, because you can drink copious amounts of water all day long, but if there aren't some electrolytes, some minerals in it, it's going to go right through. You put some sea salt or Celtic salt. I like Icelandic sea salt because it's above most of the pollution on the earth, but a lot of people love Celtic salt or the pink Himalayan salt, although the thing with pink Himalayan salt is they use aluminum drill bits typically, so I try to stay away from that one. But if you put a little, you know, a teaspoon of salt and some lemon juice in a big glass of water and drink it first thing when you wake up, it's going to hydrate you so well. It's going to flush the pipes very gently. So for people that have constipation, it's a wonderful thing to do for your body first thing in the morning. When we start talking health, David, man, I can get off on so many roads, because that takes me down to intermittent fasting, and I love talking about that and what that's done for me. And I can go all over the place with this. I'm easily. But yeah, laser is amazing because it is just improving the health of your skin. You're getting fresh new skin up. It's like we get a redo. With a deep fractional, typically it's going to take 7 to 10 years off the age of your skin in one treatment. And people will always ask me, how long is that going to last? Well, nothing freezes you in time. But if it takes, 5 to 7, 10 years off the age of your skin, you're always going to look that much younger. It's not like you're going to pop back to what your skin looked like before you had your treatment done. And typically people that put that investment in are going to come in and do some facials, and they might do a light one every year for all, depending on where they're at to keep it up. So I always joke that most lasers in this country are from a couple of guys that get together and say, hey, let's start a laser company, and they come up with a name and a corporation, and they buy stuff from overseas, and you're lucky to get a sales rep that doesn't even know what they're doing, train you. So when you look at 𝗏𝗏ona, it's a completely different laser company. It's one of the only, if not the only, laser company that does everything from start to finish. They design their lasers, they do all their white paper studies. Everything from start to finish is done by 𝗏𝗏ona. They're the only one that I know of that you can treat the lightest skin to the darkest skin, and you'll see some of that in my before and after pictures, because it was really important to me in our demographic to be able to treat everybody who walks through my door, because everybody deserves a great treatment. So I could talk all day. I should be a salesperson. I always joke with the president of 𝗏𝗏ona that when I retire, I'm going to come sell lasers for you, because everybody should have these. Oh, and this is a deep fractional laser before and after. So this lady, I always like to talk full disclosure. I don't sugarcoat anything when people come in for a consult with me. She healed quicker than anyone I have ever done before, but she also followed my post-care protocol to a T. The before is on Monday, and her after picture is on Friday. Most people don't look that good for 2 more days. I have a 3-page post-care instruction little booklet, and part of it talks about eating clean after you have a procedure. And this, whether you're having a surgery or an aesthetic thing, when your body needs to heal, you need to let your body heal and not give it a bunch of junk that it has to digest. If your body has X amount of energy and you're eating cheeseburgers and fried food and stuff, it's not going to have much energy left over to heal. So I tell my clients, drink green smoothies, lots of fruits and vegetables, some clean, plant-based protein while you're healing. How you eat normally is not my business, but while you're healing for that week, eat clean. This is proof positive that it works, because no one healed quicker than her. But, if she had a facelift, talking about a facelift, you might have gotten some slide back, but look at her eyes. She had no 𝗦𝗏𝗃 before, and 4 days later, she's already starting to get some 𝗦𝗏𝗃. You don't get your full result from this treatment for about 3 months out. It takes 6 weeks every time you do a treatment to start to see the result of collagen boost. So these are all of the things, probably some more that aren't up here, but we do all of these things with our 𝗏𝗏ona laser. Skin tightening, resurfacing, pigmented lesions. I can take off DPNs, moles. As a registered nurse, I cannot diagnose. So the one thing I always have to tell my clients is, I can take any lesion off you want, but you first have to get cleared by a dermatologist. They need to be able to check anything that looks suspicious, and they need to say, yes, I can take everything off, and then I can do it all. My personal dermatologist, I use Robin Friedman down at Memphis Dermatology, and she will send me clients that have things all over, and she doesn't want to burn and freeze things off all over their body. Vein treatments. I don't typically do leg veins, just because if you have a lot of leg veins, a lot of the blue reticulars, that often means there's a deeper problem. And I'll just tell my clients straight up, I don't want you wasting money having me treat these superficial ones, because if there's a deeper problem and you don't take care of that, they're going to come right back. So you need to go check and see if you have some reflux going on, or get the root treated first, and then I can clean up the cosmetic for you. But broken capillaries on the face, the little red dots that I call baby hemangiomas, those are so quick and easy to take care of. Vaginal rejuvenation, great quality of life treatment for women, especially women that have had to go through chemotherapy, because oftentimes oncologists don't talk with women about what that's going to do to your body. So there's such a simple, easy treatment for that. And again, 𝗏𝗏ona is the only one with an FDA-approved modality and handpiece for that. None of the others on the market have anything FDA approved. pain treatments. I'm so excited about this because when I went to the International Laser Symposium about a month ago, I came back with a new handpiece. It's called the Marco handpiece, and it's for pain. It's biomodulation. It's like cold laser therapy. So I tried it out on my right knee that had been giving me a little trouble, and I've been very pleased. So that's something new we have in the office to offer. Great on joints or any place you're having some pain issues. Lip enhancement. So we do two types of lip. We obviously can inject lips, but our laser also does something called lip laze, which within 3 to 5 treatments can make you look like you have a syringe of filler in your lips, but it's super natural looking because it's just boosting your own collagen in your lips. It's really lovely. We can even rim the vermilion border to kind of perk up that color around the lip and the philtrum columns. Not much we can't do with laser. Head to toe, inside and out. Do we have? Yeah, we have hair, okay. Stretch marks, laser hair removal. I never wanted to be a laser hair removal business, so we only do laser hair removal on the face and occasionally, if it's a really good client, armpits. You know, there's just so many laser hair removal places out there, and we have such a high-level laser. We can't compete with their pricing, and I don't want to burn my lasers up on laser hair removal. It's the honest truth there. Skin lesion removal, we already talked about. Melasma, rosacea, acne. I don't think we have laser or tattoo removal up there. We actually have the latest technology in tattoo removal. Traditional tattoo removal can leave people very blistered and scarred, just the way they're done. We're doing something called fractat, which is exclusive to Photona on their Starwalker laser. So we're ablating microscopic tunnels into the skin before we do the tattoo removal so the gases can escape. So oftentimes people, the skin where we're treating to remove a tattoo will end up being better quality skin than before we started because it's so rejuvenating. And it's also, most people have Pico, the Photona Starwalkers, both nano and Pico technology. I don't think I'm just checking to see if I forgot anything. So wellness at Ashtoria. So this is something that we've just gotten into over the past year. So over the years, my clients have shared with me how frustrating our current allopathic medical system can be for them. Symptoms that are just thrown a Band-Aid prescription without any effort to go into healing the root cause. This often leaves them with being on prescriptions for life with pharmaceuticals, which often can cause their own list of problems. Now, I am very thankful that we have pharmaceuticals. I don't want you to think I'm bashing the allopathic medical system because we need it, and I'm very, very thankful for it. But somewhere in the process, we lost functional medicine. We lost fixing the root cause of the problem. Pharmaceuticals are more meant to keep us alive while getting our bodies back to homeostasis. Getting you to a healthy state through nutrition, relaxation, medical assistance that boost your health and overall immunity while decreasing toxic load is what we are currently structuring. This is a direction where my mind and heart has been leading me for many years to offer more functional, holistic-based health coaching. We've already begun implementing some of our wellness options, such as plant-based hormones, IV therapies for immunity, energy, skin health, glutathione, B12. I have a nurse practitioner that does that. And we'll be growing that, continuing to grow that. My doctor that, our primary care physician that my husband and I use, is in his 70s and he's getting ready to retire. And he said to us about 1.5 years ago, which made me feel really good. He's like, you guys are getting older. You need to get an internal medicine doctor just in case you need one so you have a relation. So I'm like, well, you're probably right. So he sent us to one, and my husband and I went together, and they split us in different rooms, and they did whole batteries of tests on us and EKGs and what have you. And they brought us back together, and the doctor and his nurse practitioner said, okay, to my husband, your cholesterol's getting a little elevated. We're going to put you on a statin. They looked at me and said, you're starting to get a hiatal hernia. We're going to put you on Nexium. And I looked at them, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, that's all you got? Are you going to give us any nutrition, any lifestyle changes? And they looked at me like I was an alien. And I'm like, my husband has never had high cholesterol. He just started. And I'm like, you're going to put us both on something that's now known to be connected to Alzheimer's? And here my mother-in-law just passed from Alzheimer's. You know, I'm like, I just looked at them and said, I'm very disappointed in you. You know, what can I say? So I go back to my primary care physician and start fussing at him. He's like, Valerie. He's like, you've got to learn how to work the system. He's like, go to your doctor for your diagnosis and then do your research and decide what you want to do. I said, well, that's very sound advice. You know, the other thing I said to the doctor is like, I have the beginnings of a hiatal hernia. I've had 5 children. It's a wonder it's not coming out my throat, you know. I don't have heartburn. Like, Nexium is for heartburn. I'm like, I don't have heartburn. I take digestive enzymes when I eat. I know things that are hard for my body to digest, and if I'm being bad, I take digestive enzymes, easy breezy, no problems. So that's where, you know, we so need our allopathic doctors, but we also need more functional medicine options around here so we can have a beautiful balance of both, because we need both. I love the IV therapies. Like, before I travel, I always do an IV for immunity boost, glutathione, energy. They're amazing. So this is super, super exciting. This is one of our newest things at Ashtoria, and this is my healing room. So you have these on the table. So we don't own this technology. It's, if you will, on loan to us. 𝗙𝗲𝗹𝗹𝗶 Biohealing is they're FDA approved over-the-counter medical devices. They're completely natural. So you know they had to have really rock-solid data to get that through the FDA. So they've been around about 5 years. I've always been interested in, like, Rudolf Steiner, Nikola Tesla, all of the biohacking for health and gardening. And this goes back to that technology. So biophotons are naturally in the earth, the air, the water. It's what our body uses as life force energy to heal with. We are electrical beings, and we need that energy. But, you know, over the decades with the industrial time frame, what have you, biophotons have drastically been reduced in our air, water, and earth. So what these devices do is they magnify the biophotons that are around you, so your body has more to utilize. And in this healing room, you see this crate under here. Those are the med bed generators. Those are the big boys that magnified, I don't know, by like 1,000 or something. It's crazy. There's not much that can't be healed with this. We can't guarantee any one thing. You know, someone may come in for X to be healed, but the body innately knows that A, B, C, and D have to be healed first. So everybody will get something different. When you're a client at Ashtoria, our clients get to try a session in there for free so they can see how they feel before they do a package. This is not a money maker, let me tell you. This is a passion for me. This goes through the 𝗙𝗲𝗹𝗹𝗶 Biohealing Company. They sell memberships that you can come, it's $150 a month, and you can come twice a month for an hour and bring a guest with you each time. So it's not very much money, but the outcome's amazing. We had a gentleman come in about a month ago. I'd never seen gout in someone's hand before. I've always seen gout in the feet. This gentleman had gout in his hand. He'd been on medicines for it for about 4 months. It kept getting worse. It was blown up. It looked like someone took a medical glove and blew it up. You know, it was more than twice the size of his other hand. It was bright pink with a purple stripe down the center and middle finger. And he had read about 𝗙𝗲𝗹𝗹𝗶 Biohealing online, and we were the closest center to him, so he came. He did one session for an hour, came back in, I forget now whether it was 2 or 3 days later, and he said, I was in the process of calling you guys, and I said, no, I have to come show you, because we all saw his hand. It was almost completely back down to normal size, and the only discoloration was a very light streak down the middle. The dark pink was gone, the purple was gone. We're just starting to compile our own. You know, Tesla has a ton of, you know, different comments by their people of testimonials. I'm trying to say testimonials, but we're starting to compile our own testimonials right here in 𝗙𝗲𝗹𝗶𝗿𝗀. So these beds that are on top, as soon as I knew that we were going to be able to get this technology in Collierville, and Tesla has their own sites up and down the East Coast, and they had just gotten to a point where they were going to spread out and work with, they were going to pick 10 companies across the United States to start spreading this technology out. So I just personally think that's so cool that we got it here in Collierville, Tennessee. So about the time I knew I was getting those, I went down to a health and wellness conference in Houston, and it was set up for us to have a bonus day at this biohacking wellness center that hadn't even opened to the public yet. They had ozone therapy and the cold tanks, the infrared, but what they had that I loved were these beds. So these are anti-gravity beds. They're so comfortable to lay on. They're low to the ground, so it's easy for people to get on and off. And they're by Dr. Stephen Schwartz designed these, and they're bioharmonic frequency, sound, and vibrational resonance therapy. So there are professional headphones that you're wearing, and the bed vibrates in conjunction with it. This technology has been shown in research to heal even damaged DNA. There's 7 different albums that you can pick from, and we're giving this technology away free when people sign up to do the Tesla MedBed sessions. The sound and vibration, the list of things that those heal on the album, there's one for bone regeneration, there's one for immunity, there's one called Spectrum that's great for ADD, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety. These beds put you in a deep state of meditative relaxation. Talk about the theta and the beta and all that. It's amazing. If you're someone that can't relax, you're going to let go on this. I guarantee it. I will get I tell people it's like I feel so relaxed and so energized all at the same time. It's wonderful. There's one on there that they call their sonic cup of coffee. It has the most intense vibration, the intense music, and I love that one. When we got these beds delivered, I just told my husband, I'm like, baby, I promise you, I'm not having an affair. I'm just going to be vibing every night for an hour before I come home. Because I'm like, part of me wants to bring one of those home to have in my house, but I'm like, no, I can't be selfish. I have to leave it there for my clients. But truly, truly amazing technology. There's, you can't see it, but I have a massage table in the corner that I just bought a biomat for that we're going to have that in there too. I have a lot of books in there. Some people will buy a day pass off the Tesla website, so they'll come in and use that space for the day. So we have a lot of healing books and different other healing modalities that they're allowed to use too. Because like I said, this is just a passion for me. I love seeing what people get out of it. And the biophoton therapy from the Tesla MedBed generators, that lasts about 2 weeks in you, that healing. So that's why they have you come twice a month, so you can just keep that healing going and going and going.
So Valerie, just to make sure I understand, you got the sensation of the vibration, you've also got the biophoton.
Mm-hmm.
So how many members do you have so far at the 150 per month?
Gosh, we just started selling the packages. I'm going to guess maybe around 15 or so. Yeah. Yeah.
So you say it's like an hour session per month?
There's 7 albums so far, and at some point they're going to add more albums because each album does different healing modalities. Some of the albums are some of them will go over an hour, so we say it's around an hour. Some of them may be 50 minutes, some of them may be 70, but we let you go through the whole album. Yeah. And, for $150, 2 of you can get 2 visits a month, which is pretty cheap. I think that's, wellness and nutrition. So this is part of a talk I did 2 weekends ago that I popped in here because I always like to just remind people, we should be eating food from God versus food from man. There's so much crazy stuff in our food now. My folks, I'm from Maine, and my folks, most of my family's still up in Maine, and they had that forever pesticide going on up there, and they lobbied hard to get that banned from Maine. So I actually bought, my husband asked me what I wanted for my anniversary present earlier this year, and I said, I want a greenhouse, and not a little one. So the Amish store up in, is it Somerville? Amazing construction up there. They did a little shed for my mom years ago, and it still looks brand new. So they did a greenhouse for me. And I'll tell you what, that was amazing. One man delivered my, 10 by 20 foot greenhouse. One man delivered it. That was, I videoed it. David Wolf calls it Frankenfood, when you're eating hot dogs and all this bad stuff for us. So that has a lot to do with our health and our skin as well. You are what you eat. And I forget, there was one slide I had in that presentation that it says, you are what you eat, so don't be cheap, fast, or fake. I just thought it was funny. Oh, this is a slide. I didn't realize Lauren put this one in. I was thinking it was in here, but I thought that was the last slide. So eat to live versus living to eat. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. You are what you eat, so don't be fast, cheap, easy, or fake. If you keep good food in your fridge, you will eat good food. By choosing healthy over skinny, you're choosing self-love over self-judgment. I really love that one because we need to love ourselves. It's not about what the scale says. It's about how we feel. It's about keeping inflammation down, which is the main root cause of most disease processes. It's keeping our joints feeling good. I want to still be able to get down on the ground with my grandchildren and get back up. So take care of your body. It's the only one we have to live in. Health is a relationship between you and your body. And the food you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. That's a profound one. Before and after pictures. Are there any questions before I go through before and after pictures? Okay. I love this one. I know this person, so I could talk to him like this. I don't typically talk to clients like this, but I told him, man, you look like a Shar-Pei. You're going to be a great before and after picture. So this is him scrunching down before and after Botox, and this is him raising up before and after Botox. This guy was one of my test subjects when I first got my laser too. So we'll have some other pictures of him in here as well. This is filler. So again, not everybody wants to look 16. I don't want to look 16. I still like to crinkle when I smile. I think the year I turned 50, my husband said, are you ever going to start aging with me again? I'm like, well, geez, I wasn't planning on it, but I guess I can loosen up some things. But this lady was super happy. I actually put filler in her lips and a little bit around her mouth to soften things. She didn't want everything gone. She just wanted it improved a little bit. So I love that picture to show that we can make little improvements, we can make big improvements, and everything in between. And this is under eye filler. This is lips. So I like to show my lip pictures because not everybody has to look like a duck when they've had lip filler. And her and her husband actually own a medical aesthetic place. They had just opened it out in East Tennessee, and I was actually out there for a laser training, and I was helping her husband learn how to do lips, so we did her. And she could use a little bit more in her upper lip, but we were going to let her swelling go down, and then he was going to touch up her upper lip a little bit. But as we age, I guess there's not a pointer on here. Our lips age us more quickly from our profile than even straight on as they get really flat. So just having a slight curve gives so much balance between the nose and the chin, and it's just youthful looking. That's the only thing we did, was her lips, and it just made her so happy. This is under eyes and temples. So I don't know if you focus on her temples, if you can see how it's a little concave in here. When you fill the temples and even into the hairline, it gives such a lift. It will lift from all the way down here, but also from around the front of the eye. So we can pull some of that back up and around by doing the temples into the hairline. and then go in, it's like, is the glass half full or half empty? Most people, when they look at her, see bags. I see the deficit all around her bag and in her mela groove. So that's what I feel. I actually did her, I was training another practice. She's someone I would have loved to have lasered. Yes. No, that was filler. So, and let's talk about that, because, if I wasn't in this industry, I wouldn't have known what the difference between Botox and filler is. So the neuromodulators, which everybody knows Botox because they were the first one out of the gate. We have a lot of different ones on the market now. We have Dysport is the most popular in my practice. Dysport kicks in the quickest. It tends to last a little bit longer. It's the most natural looking. It doesn't feel as heavy as Botox typically does on people. Botox is still a great product, but we also have Xeomin and 𝗔𝗯𝗍, and we were one of the first. We were one of 2 practices to launch the newest one called 𝗙𝗵𝗍, and 𝗙𝗵𝗍, instead of using an albumin to get the product to grab your muscle and hang on, they're using a peptide, and our body loves peptides, so it's giving people an even smoother result, and it lasts somewhere, I'm going to say that, they say it lasts 50% longer, so somewhere between 40 and 50% longer, so it's a longer lasting option. So what those neuromodulators do is just, they interrupt the message from your brain to your muscle, wherever we're putting it. That's all it's doing. It's a message interrupter. That's why you can literally use, Botox is used for so many things. I mean, Botox, Allergan is the company that owns Botox, and Allergan has the government contract medicinal use. So that's why you always see Botox approved, for migraines, and I think, gosh, it should be, if not already, for TMJ. They started out using it for ocular spasms, spinal spasms, bladder spasms, contractures in people with, muscular problems. It's an amazing drug because it's just a message interrupter. So when we put it in the muscles anywhere in the face, it's interrupting that message, telling those muscles to contract. So when they stop working out so much, they'll start to smooth out eventually. Also, we use it for hyperhidrosis, people that have excessive sweating under the arms and the hands. My youngest son sweats a lot around his forehead, so it helps with all of those things because, again, it's just interrupting that message to your sweat glands, telling them to produce sweat. So quite a little miracle product. So fillers, on the other hand, are replacing lost volume in the face. So where you're sunken, it can raise things back up. It can lift. It can contour, give you a more youthful contour in certain areas. These, again, are lips. This one, we were working on symmetry. So this is a great example because I promise you every single person is like this. I've never met a person that has perfectly symmetrical lips. Where, what do they say, sisters not twins, side to side? So there's always, so this side here is her shorter side. The shorter side of the lip is always higher. It's more rounded. The longer side of the lip always dips down. And that is true of everybody. So, and it's not like we notice that, unless you're staring at yourself. Like, how many people are staring at us dead on? Like, people don't notice these nuances. We're so dimensional, we're moving. But sometimes I have people come in and they really want to work on symmetry, and that's usually a stage thing because we've got to get a little bit of filler in those thinner areas before we can start doing some columns to lift up and really work with that. But we got her pretty darn symmetrical over 2 treatments. And this, again, that's 2 syringes in her lips. 2 full syringes in her lips over 2 visits. I only do one at a time. She had gotten really deficit. So again, you don't want to put too much filler in at once because it just migrate to places you don't want it. So you have to stage things like that and allow the body to accept what you put in, let it settle in, because it takes 2 to 3 weeks for filler to really integrate with your tissue and feel natural. And then you can go and put a little bit more in.
Valerie,
Yes, sir. So how long filler This is, hyaluronic acid is temporary filler. How long the fillers and the Botox type products last is completely dependent on the person's metabolism. So during the summer months when it's hot, they might be more active. They may metabolize through it more quickly. During the winter when we're more sedentary, not as active, it might last longer. Typically, they're all approved for about 12 months. But I tell people realistically, if you come in and get your lips done and you want to keep them there, you're going to look at doing a little fill like every 6 to 9 months to bump them up. And typically, once you start layering it, it will start lasting longer. And not that we'll put a whole syringe in every time, but there'll be somewhere else where we can stick the rest of it always. And again, just different lips. This is a full syringe in her lips. Like, a syringe sounds like a lot, right? Typically, most of the syringes are a 1.0 syringe, which is 1/5 of a teaspoon. So it's not a lot. It's amazing they do what they do. Now we're starting to have a lot more of the fillers come out with a 1.2, which gives us 20% more to work with, which is really nice. But that is a full syringe in her lips, and this is a full syringe in her lips. So depending on the tissue, the age of the tissue, how tight or maybe loose it is, a syringe will look very different in every, each individual's lips. This is my daughter, Ashley, who I thought was absolutely perfect, but she thought her nose needed to be straighter. So I just did a little bit of filler on the top of her nose to straighten it out for her. That's something that's requested quite a bit for a little filler nose job. Earlobes. I think the only place we can't stick filler is your eyeball. This on the left is one of our fractional laser treatments. She wasn't even really doing it for anti-aging. She just wanted help with her brown spots. But she's getting an amazing result. She's still healing a little bit. She's still a little pink, but you're starting to see the lift and her jawline come back in, which is lovely. And this is also, I just focused in on the under chin here. I thought she looked pretty darn good in her before picture, but that bothered her, and she really did get a lot of tightening. It's just like filler. When you're tightening the upper face, it's pulling up from below, and you're tightening that, and it's pulling up from below. So it's like a domino effect upward for lift, which is what we all love. This is fractional laser again. I was just focusing in so you could see around her eyes what it did for her. This is fractional laser to help with the little malar grooves there, just tightening everything up. Fractional laser is amazing for men because it is so natural looking. You just look like you of a few years earlier. I love laser for men. Filler and Botox is great too, but for the men that don't want to do that, the laser is amazing. This again is fractional laser. Someone that didn't want to do Botox, didn't want to do filler, he just wanted his skin to look healthier. And you can see on the nose, like it's amazing for tightening up the pores. This was a really interesting case, and I love when I get some different challenges. So this young man had a chemical burn on the right side of his face, an industrial at work chemical burn. Well, it gave him like a deep chemical peel. And he came in saying that, the right side of his face always looked younger since that happened. So we did fractional laser. He wanted to get rid of that brown spot on the left side as well. So what I did was a light fractional on the right side and a deep one on the left side to bring more symmetry into his face. Can you see? I just realized I might be blocking. Okay. This is the Bellafill, which is the biostimulating filler that makes your body build your own new tissue. That will last for 5+ years. So this is a combination of Bellafill and fractional laser. This also, Miss Daisy's one of our models, and this is also a result of both filler neuromodulator, and fractional laser. And she is a spitfire on the inside, and she needed her outside to match her inside. She's a fabulous lady. This is Susan, who was our amazing mall manager that opened Carriage Crossing, and then she retired, and I miss her dearly. She was getting ready for her daughter's wedding, so I just, we did a liquid facelift and a light laser peel to freshen her skin up, and that's the same thing I did to this gentleman. We did a little bit, you know, this is the malar groove area that you can even see it in some little children genetically, that they have that little line going down. It's like a tendon that pulls down tight. So we were just smoothing to give him a little anti-aging and a light laser peel to freshen up his skin. This is a 𝗡𝗲𝗃𝗍 that I removed with our Star Walker laser. As the Star Walker is our pigment laser. This beautiful lady had been to dermatologists all her life. No one had ever told her there was anything that she could do to get rid of that 𝗡𝗃𝗃 on her forehead. She had worn heavy makeup all her life, so you can just see the slightest shadow there, but she is so comfortable going without makeup now, and she loves that. This is my daughter's friend. He had a little white lesion on his eyelid and a mole on his nose that he wanted taken care of. His eye doctor wouldn't touch that, but said that it was okay for me to get rid of it, so we got rid of it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and that's a great question to ask. So, on my Dynamis, on two of my lasers, my Dynamis and my Spectro, there's actually two lasers in each casing. So there's an erbium and a neodymium, or ND-YAG and erbium YAG. So neodymium YAG, we can't go that close to the eye. I can get the under eyes and stuff with it, but you want to have tight goggles on. The erbium YAG is a columnated light. It doesn't spread. It's very exact, so it's very, very safe around the eyes. I can get right up to the lash line. Very, very safe. So this is the gentleman that was my model for the Botox, you know, up and down. He had raised hyperpigmented scars on the corners of both of his forehead from like straight edge razor blade cuts. And again, I'm full disclosure with my clients. I told him, Eric, hypothetically, this laser can treat all skin tones, but you're going to be my first. And honestly, when I went to Slovenia for training, I kept asking everybody, where are the darker skin pictures? Where are the Fitzpatrick, 4 and 5? And they finally said to me, Valerie, we know that they can be treated, and we have our lasers in, all over the Middle East. There are lasers around the world. I said, but we don't really have any in-house pictures on darker skin. So he knew he was my practice subject. But I asked him, I said, I know I can get it smooth, but if you're left with hyper or hypopigmentation, is it going to bother you any more than this bothers you now? And he said, no, let's do it. So we did it, and he got a great result. This, the scar removal? I do that on a case-by-case basis. I charged him very little because he was a model for me, because I was practicing on him. And again, it's a case-by-case basis. And I'll usually charge per treatment because I don't know how many treatments each person is going to take. Yeah. I'll tell you I don't turn my laser on for less than $300, if that gives you a starting point. 4D laser facelift. This is 4 different modalities that you get every single time you come in. It treats the face, neck, and chest. This treatment is typically, you get 3 treatments, 3 months worth of treatments for $1,500. So what I'm showing here is her before and right after the treatment. And some people will be a little pink afterwards, but you can put makeup on and go out to dinner and look great. This is a no downtime treatment. If you have super dry skin, you might have a little microfine flaking in a few days to a week, but wash your face with something other than your fingers, with a sponge or a washcloth in a circular motion, something that has a little exfoliation, and hydrate well, and you go about your business. This is great for men and women. I'm just showing you what she looked like the next time she came in so you can see how well it holds, because that's just after 1 of them, and you get 3 in the package. Their white paper studies say to do 1 for each decade of life you are, but people are usually happy after 3. this is me. I get really jowly genetically. I come from a long line of Rubenesque women on both sides of my family. So I love how this treatment lifts. And again, this is the 4D laser facelift. One of the 4 steps does a really great job tightening those muscle vectors up the side of your face for lift. And it's just lifting and smoothing. Nobody's going to be like, oh my God, what'd you have done? You're just going to look fresher a little, turning back time a little bit. And that you have no downtime with it is really great for busy people. This is that's several years ago. That's probably when I first opened. And I had done a light fractional to myself. And that's before and right after. So fractional can be a light treatment to a deep treatment. You typically want to go at least 100 microns down to get a result. But there's a lot of play there. But that's right afterwards, and I think I have some tinted sunscreen on there. This again was someone that I did when I was training another practice out of state. And it blew me away because I'm not usually doing liquid facelifts on someone her age. But again, when you're lifting peripherally, this is a great example of what you put in the upper face is going to lift up equally from below, because I treated her temples into her hairline, a little bit of the lateral down in front of the ear, just a tiny little bit here to pull back, and a little bit in her tear trough, just some droplets and a couple droplets here, very light in those areas. So this is what 6 syringes of Belafil looks like in a liquid facelift. But what she got out of her jawline was amazing. She didn't want to have big poofy cheeks. She didn't want to look crazy. She wanted it to be very subtle. And she did. It's subtle and profound at the same time with the lift she got. This again is filler and a fractional laser treatment. And whenever I look at this, I always think she looks like Debbie Reynolds in the after picture. She's a pretty lady. The liquid facelift is just revolumizing. And you don't want to just do a liquid facelift on someone that doesn't have tight tissue. So typically, if someone comes in their 60s or 70s and they've never done anything and they want both some tightening and lift, but also some contouring, in my perfect world, I would love to be able to give everybody a deep fractional laser treatment first, because the tighter you get that skin, the less filler you have to use, and it's going to look so much more natural. And like I said, a lot of times my clients will have a deep fractional. They're like, I look so good, I don't need any filler. And I love that, because I'm not there just I'm not there for money. I'm there to give a good result. And to me, if I can get people in a happy place with laser that's going to last longer and look natural, I'm happier for them. And I know I'm also increasing the health of their skin. Sometimes we have to do both, depending on where they're at genetically and age-wise. Yeah. So, yes. So I remember reading an article when I worked at the plastic surgery group, and it was an article saying that pretty much anything over 30 to 40 is a marketing gimmick. The important thing is that if you're out in the sun all day, you've got to reapply every 2 hours. I mean, there's no harm in buying a 90 SPF, but it's not doing you any more typically than a 40. I don't typically, and I know estheticians will be like, ugh, but I'm not someone that lathers myself from head to toe in sunscreen. If I'm going to be out for just 20 minutes or so, I want to get my vitamin D. The other thing with vitamin D is you can't be out working in the yard and come right in and shower, because vitamin D is made with a reaction of the sun on your skin over about 4 hours. So you don't want to come right in and shower, or you're defeating the purpose. And most of the articles I've read say that even being out in just a sleeveless top for 20 minutes will give you your vitamin D need for the day. So your moisturizer is meant to sink in. Your SPF is meant to protect you topically. So they typically don't work well together. You can have a moisturizing, you can have a hydrating, it's better to have a hydrating SPF than to have SPF in your moisturizer, because it is predominantly a moisturizer. So that's my feeling on that subject and from what I've read. So it's breaking up the adhesions, and it's pulling in collagen to remodel that area, so it's softening your scar tissue. It can resurface it. And I thought I had a picture in here of another scar along a cheek where a big skin cancer was taken out. Depending on what the scar looks like, sometimes we have to go in and break up those adhesions with a needle, and sometimes lay just a little bit of filler so it doesn't try to adhere right back down, and then laser over it to break up the scar tissue. So as we ablate microscopic tunnels into that scar tissue, you're getting fresh new tissue in there that's not scarred anymore. It's usually going to be multiple treatments. If it's a raised scar, I do fractional and then full ablation to bring it down as well. Yeah, I love doing scars. I like Icelandic salt. David Wolf has one on his website that's in a blue box. I have that one, but I also really love a company called 𝗙𝗲𝗃. So it's 𝗙𝗲𝗃, and it's just flaked Icelandic sea salt, unadulterated. The whole thing with the salt is that, man, if you have Morton salt or any table salt, throw it out, sprinkle it around your rose bushes, I don't know. But table salt, and why this isn't like on the nightly news, I don't know. We should all know this. And I'm like, why didn't I know this when I found it out? Table salt is stripped of most of its minerals and sold to chemical companies. So Morton salt and table salt that we buy in the store is a stripped down version that doesn't do anything pretty much other than cause high blood pressure. We need those minerals. I mean, the magnesium, the potassium, everything that's on salt, it's what we need, and it's what we need for our cells to truly be hydrated. Just plain water does not penetrate our cells well, but the minerals and electrolytes in real, unadulterated salt helps it get into your cells. I can drink like a big thing of salt water and lemon and go out and work in the garden and in the yard half a day. And I don't even have to run in and go to the bathroom, because it's in my body, it's working, it's hydrating me. It's such a difference. And again, I'm a nurse, so I talk about all sorts of things, but truly, if you're constipated, nothing will help you better, because stuff is getting stuck because you're not hydrated. Our digestive system and our digestive tract needs hydration. I love activated coconut charcoal too. I take that several times a week. Sometimes I'll take it every day, depending on what's going on. To detox, I'll get up and I'll make that detox. I call it lemonade with the salt and the lemon, and I'll take a couple activated coconut charcoal that I get off David Wolf's site, but you can also buy activated charcoal right at Whole Foods. And that's going to absorb toxins, but you want to make sure when you get that in you and it's absorbing toxins that you're moving things through so it exits as well. There's so many things that we can do naturally to detoxify. Cilantro. I love pico de gallo. I love cilantro. I can just pick a bunch of it and eat it. I think people either love cilantro or hate it, because some people it tastes like soap. My mom and my oldest daughter are like that. But cilantro is a great chelation for heavy metals in your body. But we should all be detoxing. Detox, all the time. So, it's very individual. I personally will, I don't know, it's just a normal tumbler glass, and I'll fill it up, and I put a teaspoon in mine, and I'll do a half to a full lemon, depending on what I have, because sometimes I'll do a half if it's a big one and save the other half for the next day. And then I'll take a couple activated charcoal with it. David Wolf talks about putting a tablespoon in his, and the guy that owns Albee Wellness in Houston, the biohacking place, he puts a tablespoon in his every day. I think that has to do with your health too. So I would say start small and then work up and see how you feel. It's always better to start small and work your way up. Yes, we started implementing a cost for our consults just so curiosity seekers weren't booking an appointment and then, I'm going to the beach instead, no showing us. So we charge $50 for our consult fee, and that's blocking off an hour of my schedule for you. And we don't keep that. As long as you show up and don't no-show us, that goes on your account to use towards a product or a service, anything you want, so you don't lose it. Yeah. It's just to hold people accountable. I have never looked at that to see what the ingredients are. I would want to know that they're not using Morton salt in it. I'd want to know that they're not using a lot of sugar in it. So, I don't know because I haven't looked at those ingredients. You're a lot better off health-wise, though, to do your sea salt and do your natural lemon, or I love essential oils. I signed up to do Young Living oils just so I could get 25% off because I use them in my bath. I use them in diffusers. They have a line that's called Vitality that you can ingest, and they're the only ones I trust to ingest. So they're citrus, they're rosemary, they're peppermint. I love putting them in my water. So if you're trying to get off of sodas, if you're trying to get off soda pop or whatever, or sweet tea, you can kind of transition over with something really flavorful with essential oils in your water. If you have a stuffy nose, oh my gosh, get a hot, like you're making a cup of tea, pour some boiling water in a cup, put a couple drops of peppermint, pure peppermint essential oils, and it will clean you out to your toenails. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's also great. It's really helpful for some people when they're having a migraine headache because it opens up your blood vessels so it can stop your head from pounding. And intermittent fasting, do any of you do intermittent fasting? I had heard about that for years, and I'm like, what is it? Because I get hangry real easy. But intermittent fasting is really just giving your body a break. And for me to follow rules, I typically have to understand the why. So when I finally understood the why, I'm like, oh my gosh, this makes sense. So, when we're sleeping, our liver, all of our organs that are working on detox, they're getting all the garbage together, right? And if the first thing we do when we wake up, because when we wake up is when it starts taking out the garbage. And if the first thing we do when we wake up is eat, that all stops. It stops, and then we have to go back to producing bile to digest the food. So it's really, really important not to eat first thing when you get up. If you can give your body at least a couple hours, and I try to wait until noon to have like a plant-based protein shake, and then I'll sip on that all afternoon, kind of milk it, and just have dinner. So I'll do that when I'm trying to lose weight, because when I opened up Ashtoria, I was 157 pounds. I was working out with a personal trainer twice a week. I was in better shape than when I was 18. And when I opened my business, man, I fell off the wagon hard. And I pretty quickly popped up to 198 pounds. My heaviest pregnancy weight was 200. And I had sat there for almost 8 years. So when I went down to the health conference with David Wolf, that's when I started getting my head back right. Because I used to teach aerobics. I'm trained in nutrition. Just because you know how to do something doesn't mean you're going to do it. It's a lot of it's up here. But when I started doing the intermittent fasting and getting my diet back to more plant-based, and I don't tell people they have to be all plant-based, but the more plant-based you get, I still have a steak once in a while. I still have, animal protein once in a while, but I certainly don't have it 3 times a day, and I don't even have it daily. And I feel so much lighter. I feel so much better. Dairy was the first thing I cut out, and that's what brought my food baby back down. It's amazing. The best way I can explain that is when you've been eating something all your life and you feel a certain way all your life, you don't know there's any other way until you cut it out. And it's like, wow, what a difference. So, the 3 main things that they say to cut out first is dairy, wheat, and gluten. And it's not like you may not have a hardcore allergy, but a lot of us have sensitivities. And when you start having, allergies to grass, seasonal allergies, and then you're putting foods in your body that you have sensitivities to, and it all builds up, all of a sudden it's like too much for your body to handle. And then you start getting into inflammatory process and autoimmune, and, you got to get back to basics. And autoimmune, with all the functional medicine doctors I read, is completely curable with diet and lifestyle. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. You know what? You just said Cameron, and he asked one thing of me, and I have failed miserably. He asked me to be repeating the questions that were asked. I'm sorry, Cameron. So skincare routine. Soaps, what did you say he uses? Oh, gosh. Okay, body wash. So, well, you know what, let me step back from my horror and say that it depends on what kind of body wash he's using. You know, if he's using Irish Spring body wash, I'd say that's a big no-no. You know, it's so toxic in perfumes and chemicals. If his body wash is shea butter and olive oil and, you know, some good things, then that would be fine. But you've got to look at toxic overload. You know, there was a study done in Memphis called the Candle Study, and it was looking at why Memphis has the highest rate of infant mortality in the country. And one of the things that in the questionnaire that they were asking of all the young ladies is, what are you putting on your skin? Are you coloring your hair while you're pregnant? What makeup do you use? What skincare do you use? What deodorant do you use? Because our skin is our largest organ of our body, and what we put on it is huge for our toxic load. It all adds up. So anywhere that you can cut back, like I've read that coconut oil is a great sunscreen if you use it as a moisturizer daily on your body. I read that. Research it yourself. Don't, you know, take that for gold. But like, I love coconut oil. It's just a natural SPF. But again, with SPF, reapply every 2 hours. That's the important thing. Oh gosh, I have like English, French, Irish, Swedish skin. Like I have the worst Eastern European skin. Like it's so wrinkly. I just genetically have really dry skin, so I always joke that I put like a 7-layer bar recipe on my face every day. Like the more the better, and my skin just keeps saying more, more. So I start with a hyaluronic acid serum, and then I use, I kind of blend together vitamin C serum and the other one's like a pigment serum. And then I put something else it's called the Light Recovery Complex. I layer like 5 things on my skin every day, and then my SPF. But that's what this 60-year-old face needs, and laser as often as I can touch it on it. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So she's asking if we can use fractional laser on rosacea. Yeah, fractional laser, again, is just getting your skin back to healthy. And I will tell you the 2 hardest, 2 in each category actually, some of the hardest cases I've ever had to work with on rosacea and I'm trying to think what acne. You know, again, they've been to dermatologists for years. I had one young man that had purple across his cheeks and nose, and one beautiful young lady that her nose was purple. I did laser to tap down the vascularity aspect of it, but I also mixed up some creams for them with ivermectin in it, because we all have Demodex mites in our skin. I know it's kind of creepy to think about, just like it's creepy to think that we have parasites in us, but it's just part of our microbiome. They're always going to be there. It's Demodex mites on our skin. It's part of our microbiome. No, it's only bad if they get out of control. You know, they're eating up debris, like everything in balance. A lot of times, so one of the reasons why laser really helps is the heat will kill some of those Demodex mites, because when they get out of control, there's a lot more debris being left in your skin and a lot more bacteria. So it's often overlooked to treat the Demodex mites, and often that's the magic that's going to make that really bad acne, that really bad rosacea get under control. Like my younger daughter, she went and spent a week volunteering at Farm Sanctuary one year, where she was loving and kissing on pigs and goats and whatever was there. She came back with the worst acne breakout I have ever seen, and the doctor I was working for at that time gave her one megadose of ivermectin. Her skin was crystal clean for 6 months. It was amazing. And I remembered that. So for these 4 particular tough cases, I utilized that, and it was magic for them. But sometimes just the laser will do it because the heat will kill enough. If it's extreme, then I'm going to work in some of the other. You want to make sure you're stopping what's causing it first, so you're not just perpetuating it. But yeah, all the little bumpies, like pickloderma that a lot of people get on the back of their arms, I've read recently that that's an indicator of parasite overgrowth, and you need to do a parasite cleanse. So, you know, it's all about not just putting a Band-Aid over it. We want to figure out what's causing it and try to fix that. So sometimes it can be laser, sometimes we have to do some other things with it to kill the bacteria or kill the Demodex mites or whatever. Thank you. You guys had awesome questions. Thank you so much. Thank you, David.